Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have supervision, enhanced hearing, extraordinary reflexes, to be, dare we say, superhuman? Well, Roku's new Pro Series TV can't do any of that for you. But with a 4K screen, side-firing speakers, and a blazing fast refresh rate, it'll sure feel like it. Elevate your entertainment using all your favorite apps like iHeart and play all your music, radio, and podcasts with the new Roku Pro Series. Your senses aren't better. Your TV is.
With New Year's resolutions, many of us will make a vow to eat healthier, and that's a good thing. But what about our beloved pets and their nutrition? Greetings, I'm naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, and here at Meow Greens, we're on a mission to provide better nutrition for all cats because truthfully, all cat food is dead food, which is why we created Meow Greens in the first place. We bring their dead food back to life with live vitamins, minerals, probiotics, enzymes, omega oils, antioxidants, and so much more. All with a tasty formula that your cat will love. You can improve your cat's coat, digestion, and energy, and have less vet bills. Let 2025 bring a new year and a new pet. Get a Jumpstart trial bag, normally $20. Get a 100% discount with promo code MEOW. You just cover the shipping. Bring your pet's food back to life. Get your free Jumpstart trial bag. Go to meowgreens.com. Use promo code MEOW, MEOW. So good your cat will ask for it by name.
This is your starve a goiter, drain a boil leader fan radio network.
Excuse me?
And KFAN.com. That's 2 minutes and make it 12 seconds past 3 o'clock. That's Central Standard Time on a beautiful, absolutely balmy Tuesday afternoon here in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. I am the host of the program called Bumper to Bumper. Guardsy produces, and we will be here till 6 o'clock tonight. 3-hour tour today. More details on that coming up in just a minute. Do you know, Guardsy, the old saying, is it starve a goiter, drain a boil, or is it drain a goiter, starve a boil?
I don't remember.
I think you drain a boil, don't you?
We've definitely discussed it. I should probably remember it.
It's been years since we've discussed this.
Yes, we've talked about it before.
Or was it, maybe it's starve a carbuncle. I can't remember which is which, but oddly enough, I think it applies to today's program. What's the number one topic on the fans, on the minds of Minnesota sports fans this moment?
Today?
Today.
I would think it's Kirill Kaprisov's injury.
That's correct, which is now going to be a surgery is scheduled, I believe, media reports indicate as soon as Friday of this week.
Okay.
And that's a scary thing, right? You go, wait a minute. He misses, was it 12 games? Then he's back. Then he looks rusty, but we say we got to give him a minute. And then he's telling people I'm at 60%.
Right.
And the cliche is lovely. Well, 60% of Kirill is still better than a lot of people. That's meaningless. You need more than 60% of Kirill to make him Kirill, right? And so it's daunting then to hear it confirmed today that he's going under the knife. Lower body. This isn't another scrotum injury, is it? I don't think it's scrotum. Who had the scrotum injury? Which defenseman had the scrotum? Wasn't it one of our defensemen who was hurt?
Oh, who did have the scrotum?
I mean, that was confirmed.
Yeah, it was.
Eventually, right?
Yeah.
It'll come to us. But I'm here to tell you, let's lance the boil right now. I don't think this is necessarily I don't think you have to have a palpable sense of dread about this. I really don't. I think there's always the open question, well, but is there any guarantee at the end of this period he's going to be the old Kirill? The obvious answer is no.
Right.
But I would much rather the team at this point make a what you could call a proactive, aggressive move that acknowledges we keep playing around with this and hope it gets a little better and he gets to 62% and 68%. In that way, be sure that he's not going to miss as much time as he's now going to miss with surgery. That sounds good in theory, but if at the end of 2 or 3 weeks, you're still looking at a 62% Kirill and the problem hasn't been resolved, lance the boil. I'd say resolve it now.
Lop it off.
No one believes, on the front end at least, that this is a season-ending injury. And if the math is being done right here, and we also have this long rest period, right, for this international hockey event. So, in all honesty, if this goes according to plan, he's still going to have several weeks of the regular season to get himself back in what might be called Kirill shape or hockey shape as well, right?
He would have 16 regular season games left, according to the Russo story, if it's a month and then a couple of weeks to get ready.
4 weeks from Friday is Feb 28.
Yep.
If he returns in 6 weeks, that would be March 14. And as you say, we would still have 16 regular season games before the Cup starts on April 19. This is the right approach. I don't think people should hang their heads over this. I really don't. Now, how much is it going to hurt in the interim? How much are they going to continue to fade? Those are all, I think, legitimate issues. Zuccarello had the scrotum injury for the record.
I thought it was Zucchi, but then he said defense, and I got worried.
Yeah, you're right. I got confused. I get it. Well, we had so many. We had like 18 defensemen now, too. So, yeah, it's is it Zucchi or Zucchi?
I think it's Zooks.
Zooks?
Yeah.
Oh, so there's no Y in the end of this one?
I heard Guerin today say like 6 straight nicknames in a row. Yeah. It was brilliant.
Zooks.
He had Eki.
He had them all. Yeah.
He had Broads.
Just like Gardy used to do.
Yes, it was incredible.
Okay. So, again, I don't think this has to be palpable sense of dread moment or doom and gloom. Obviously, you rather have them straight through, and it seems odd because, he missed as much time as he did, and now you have this. But to me, lancing the boil or starving the goiter, whichever it is, makes more sense. Just get it fixed, whatever. I'd like to know what the hell it is, I'll admit, because we're all flying blind. So hockey continues to be the only sport where it's just upper body, lower body.
Very
right?
secretive, yep.
Even though in football, they're much more particular, or much more specific, and they're also in a position where presumably the players on the other team can go after that injury, right?
Yes.
Over and over and over again.
They can.
Which is what makes it so strange that hockey have these either written and or unwritten rules about it.
We know exactly what great toe Dante DiVincenzo has sprained.
Think about it.
It's not just a toe.
No.
It's the great toe.
The great toe. Is that the big toe?
I think it is.
Yeah. Is it his right one or his left one?
I can't remember.
Okay.
But the information is there if we need it.
Yeah, I guess it is. And I'd rather, this is, I think, the best approach. There's still enough time to get him back in any, I want to do whatever gives me, at the end of the day, the best chance to have the best version of Kirill Kaprisov, closest to 100% possible when the playoffs begin. Isn't that the goal?
You know why? Because it's the Cup.
Because it's the Cup.
It's not because it's the regular season.
And because one of these years you have to get out of the first round. Right?
Yeah.
You have to.
It'd be helpful.
You have to get out of the first round. And him being out more extended period now, is that going to are we going to continue to slide in the standings? Is that going to make the matchups worse potentially? Yeah.
Maybe.
But I would rather have a worse matchup and a 98% Kirill, right? Let's face it, totally. than a 65% Kirill who's going, week to week. Yeah, he's hanging in, and they give him special treatment, and they do this for him, and they do that for him. And he's a pro. He'll play through stuff. He'll give us something that a lot of other people can't have. I want close to 100% on him. Now, we're going to be able to vet all of this with the aforementioned Bill Guerin. He's going to join at 5:30 tonight after the team is, they will have landed, I think, in Toronto tonight, if I'm not mistaken. So he promises, fresh off the plane, to join us from Toronto, Ontario. The Wild. Does he have a fancier title now than general manager?
President of Hockey Operations.
President of Hockey Operations. See, I would have thought, knowing him, Mr. Blue Collar, he would have refused the cutesy pie. He would go, call me a GM. I'm a GM.
Well, I don't think he minds when you call him the GM.
He doesn't?
Even though he's president of Hockey Ops.
I'm going to ask him that today.
See
what he thinks about that. Anyway, we'll have him at 5:30. We'll have Luigi on this subject at 4:30. And, what's funny, Louis is the guy who all along has been, I don't know, this worries me. I'm still worried about it. And he didn't, I don't know if he knew something or he felt something. But in that period where we couldn't find him and, he's going to start skating soon, he had concerns, right? That this was going to last, be chronic, or maybe even this was a continuation of some things from last year. I don't know if that's a possibility because we still don't know what the hell the injury is.
And you're probably not going to.
And we're not apparently going to. You think I can crack Guerin on that subject at 5:30? I doubt it.
But you know what?
Louis might be able to give us some new information on it. So it will be well covered today. So I'm here in an unusual role today. I am here to actually calm the nerves of the hockey community more than, oh my God,
light the fire.
It's over. It's over. Forget about it, Johnny. We're done. Why even bother? Let's end the season right now. What kind of attitude is that? I mean, what does that get you?
Nowhere.
Give your best player a chance to get as healthy as possible. Don't just keep throwing them out there in a chronic situation where everybody, when they're being honest, this isn't the same guy. He's not moving the same way. Something ain't working. Now, I'm not the doctor. I'm counting on the fact that whatever procedure they're going to do is going to fix it. And maybe that's pie in the sky. I don't know, but I still have to think there's a better chance of that. Here's the quote from Guerin: "Going to get it fixed. That's the goal." So I'm gonna trust that this has a better chance of getting whatever ails him, scrotum or anything else, that this gives him the best chance to get it fixed. Than if you just hope and pray, try to get a little more out of him each week and see if it grows into something. Meanwhile, because you know what can happen, you doing it that way, you can get to like week 4.
Right.
And you can go,
it's not getting any better.
It's not getting any better. Now it might even actually be getting worse.
Yep.
And so now we need the surgery, but we waited so long. Now if we do the surgery, it's going to be, he's going to have to, his first game back is going to be game 1 of the first round of the Cup.
And we're a wild card team playing somebody really good.
Because it's the Cup. Exactly right. So
it's too bad they didn't figure that out 5 weeks ago, right? Christmas, because it was Christmas week, I think, when he originally got hurt.
That's true.
Right around there, right? It's too bad, but hindsight being 2020.
Yeah.
They tried to do it one way. Kirill reportedly did everything that was asked of him, and it just didn't work out. So it's unfortunate that you did it one way, it didn't work, and now you have to go the surgical route.
You are 100% correct. So here's what we're going to do. We do have, it appears that we did successfully shame Seifert into coming in.
He's already here.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Just to make sure he's warm.
And so he's going to be, there'll be plenty of football conversation beginning at 3:30. We'll see if he has any hockey insight he can give to this particular story. In the meantime,
the fan wants to give you a shot to put a grain in your hand with our national cash contest, and the first keyword of the afternoon is pay. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword pay.
Texter Mark from Fargo. Dan, I love how you find every opportunity during this opening story, to potentially use the word scrotum. It's a scientific term. It's a medical term, right? It's not slang.
It's not.
It's the technical term. And in this case, I think it's timely because this team's had scrotum issues. Is that deniable?
They've had at least
one.
They've had one issue
that we know of, but there might be more.
I can't speak for the rest of the team.
Lower body injury. Who's to say? Can you rule out scrotum in this case?
I'll never rule out the scrotum.
Hello, iHeart listener. We have a confession to make. Both iHeart and this commercial you're listening to right now would probably sound a heck of a lot better on the new Roku Pro Series TV. It's got side-firing speakers that fill your room with sound, Dolby Atmos audio that puts you right in the middle of the entertainment, and the ability to pair seamlessly with your home theater sound systems that already have surround sound and booming bass. If all that sounds too good to be true, it'll sound even better on the new Roku Pro Series. Your hearing isn't better, your TV is.
Brandon from New Mexico. I'm willing to bet, Dan, that Kaprizov's injury is a sports hernia. The way he skates, has long strides, he probably has been dealing with this for some time. It's as good a guess as any. I don't know if that's the case.
Seems like something that you could play through, but also might need surgery.
And I guess technically, if we're going to be scientific, the discussion, the first segment, should have been more testicle related than scrotum, right?
It's an important clarification.
Well, I mean, there is a distinction between the two, and so I get that. That's fair enough. The Kaprizov story, the breaking nature of it, the importance of it, is the only reason we didn't start with your Minnesota Timberwolves. We were at Target Center last night. I did not stay. You did not either, although I watched. You might have watched some of it.
I sure did.
And the big news came post-game. The head coach of your Minnesota Timberwolves had one of those meltdown moments. It reminded me a little bit of how many points did Cat score? Was it 62? 60,
yeah.
Whatever. It was in the 60s.
The game they lost.
And they ended up losing that game to a terrible team. And he lost his mind after the game.
I remember it.
And the sound bites, you may have some of them ready for Top 5 at 5, very similar. He minced no words with how unhappy he was, especially, he said, with the main players, and that obviously means Anthony Edwards, right? That starts with Ant. There's no question about that, even if he didn't particularly name Anthony Edwards. And, there's a side of me that loves that honesty, loves that, again, that, calling individuals accountable, trying to hold individuals accountable. Even if he didn't specifically name them, we know that's really where the conversation starts, because Edwards, sort of meandered into the ball game again. But we're heading, I actually think we're already in that. It's not even a gray area anymore. I'd say we're past the gray into the darkness. That at some point, the coach's ability to be as honest as he was last night and not just merely accept a victory by calling individuals out or calling the team out and saying, I thought we were past this, here we go again, blah, blah, and blah. Again, it's good TV after the game. It's good audio. It's good. The words are powerful. You go, yeah, he's articulating my rage about this team, right? But that's the point. It's your team. You haven't been here 15 minutes now, Finchy. This is your team. That means I'm not sure I can listen to any more exasperation of why they do what they continue to do or what they did last night against a team that was missing 3 starters and I think a bench player as well. At least four important players in the rotation of a not very good team in the first place, right? I go, if I'm Tim Conley, or if I'm any of the 3 owners of the club, and that allegedly is going to be determined within the next week, I'm going, that's what we pay you for, man. That's what you're supposed to figure out. We're supposed to be past this point. And so I don't know what the answer is. I'm not calling for Finchy's head, obviously, but I just don't know for me that whatever, what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever satisfaction historically I might have gotten out of a coach who's not trying to coddle his players, because that's easy to do in professional sports these days, and certainly easy to do. It's what a lot of NBA coaches have been known to do from time to time. Whatever satisfaction I might have derived historically out of, man, you know what? He calls it. He doesn't care. He's going to call it. I'm not deriving the same satisfaction out of it anymore, because I say, well, that's why we pay you. Play different people. Sit down people. Have the call. If Anthony Edwards is playing like he doesn't give a damn, sit his ass down 4 minutes into the game. And I know that's against protocol.
Can't do that in the pros.
And you can't do that in the pros, and it's Anthony Edwards, and he's the best player on the team, and he means too much to the team. But all I'm saying is, if you're not willing to take the steps to indicate during a game your frustration, I'm not going to get that much arousal out of what you say after the game. Not anymore.
Something from last night that stuck with me was the people that cover it every day that are there said that was the first time this season he's really gone full Finch. He's done it in the past, like you said, earlier in the year, last year with the cat stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what we do like about him. And they thought this was the first time he really got back to his old self, which is interesting because I think he's been kind of letting this season play out, and now maybe he's fed up with it. But I just wanted to be surprised last night because you knew that they played great against Denver, maybe one of their best games of the season.
Mike Conley immediately warns them after the game. The quote we spent a lot of time on yesterday about we got to not to get too bored to continue to do the right thing. And it lasted less. It didn't even last a game.
And that's where I wanted to be surprised, because I didn't have much faith that it was going to be a systematic victory. Now, they pulled away at the end of the half, but then, as Finch said, they come out right away.
Was disastrous,
right away in the third quarter and let them right back into the game. And it's a 6-point game with a minute or so left. Now, Atlanta's no good. They're not able to steal it. But unfortunately, the starters and the main guys kind of knew that and let their effort reflect it, which is the disappointing part.
That was a totally unacceptable second half of basketball. If we're trying to be a team and go where we're trying to go, that's not good enough. Great. Okay. And then there was another quote. Is it in this story? I'm looking.
We come out and we BS and make it a game.
Yeah, that was the other one. Okay. Great. I'm not impressed. It's fine. You said it, and it needed to be said. No, something needs to be done about it, and then that gets back to make the changes that you think you need to make. I'll be honest with you. I'd rather lose that game, as silly as that sounds, with 3 of the younger players showing at least a little bit of interest in what's going on. It's like, what are we doing at this late date? In all seriousness, I don't care after the game. I'm going to put my foot down, and I'm going to let you know how frustrated I am. Big deal. That doesn't... I don't think to be honest, look at the quotes from Anthony.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's the bigger problem.
He's not even taking it seriously.
Exactly. He doesn't seem like the mess. He says, yeah, Finch got on our ass, but I don't know if I agree that we weren't ready to play. Like, that's what you should be worried about, is him saying they made some shots. They're an NBA team,
yes,
and their best players are out. You don't know who's going to score. It's kind of hard to guard those guys if you don't know. They're so random. That doesn't leave me feeling optimistic about the seriousness of the whole situation.
No.
So that, to me, is actually the bigger problem than the Finchy part, is that it doesn't seem like it really registered with him.
No, I think because he's so accustomed, because it's not like Finchy, he may not have ranted at quite that level earlier this year, but he has ranted enough where then Ant is, okay, then the Jackals, they listen to Finchy, then they go to Ant. Hey, you know what Finchy said? What do you think? And he'll go either, he's right, unacceptable. The coaches put us in the right place to do the right things. So he's been down this road. I worry that it starts to become a little bit of a game. You know, that we've been down this road so many times before that he's not even taking it all that seriously. And that's fine, but it's further evidence that they're really not going to be in position to go anywhere. Because you can't turn this stuff on. They're not good enough. He might be. But they're not, as a team, good enough to say, okay, we're snapping our fingers and now we're serious. Now we're going to pay attention to it, right? It just doesn't. In that conference, especially, you'll get punished.
Yeah, and they have
to take that, and they have. Yeah,
they have. And this is the stretch, like we talked about yesterday, that they need to have the serious stretch of basketball to put themselves in a better position than the one that they're currently in.
Yeah,
which is a play-in team at the moment.
The most encouraging thing, Rudy, 18 points, 10 boards.
He was great.
Right? So you're seeing, I think for 2 straight games now, what you have to have out of Rudy. We talked about that extensively with Johnny and elsewhere when we were at the Cage last night. So I'm not going to be wowed or impressed that he let him have it and he's going to hold these guys accountable. Well, let's see. Let's see how you go about doing that, because again, I know I'm asking for too much when he says what starts with the main guys. Name them. Anthony wasn't ready to play tonight. Just say it. I'd actually rather that, but I'd also be more impressed, and I know it's not going to happen the way the league is. All right, come on over. We're instead of, I think the first guys who come out usually are Randall and Conley, right? Instead of doing that, and I don't know if that was the case last night. Randall, by the way, had some nice things he did, and then he had like 9 turnovers, I think.
Yep.
And then say, Ant, come on over. And I'm not saying you don't play him the rest of the game, but just do more. That the words are, you can take this down, and Seifert knows this. Words are cheap, and that's the biggest vulnerability we have doing talk radio every day. The truth is, words are very, very, very cheap.
Mine are.
It's an indictment of everything we do, but they're cheap. It's 100%. Seifert is ready. A lot to catch up with with him. Officiating, Vikings, all kinds of good stuff. You have questions, comments for Kevin Seifert. He is in studio. Louis at 4:30. And as I mentioned, the president of hockey operations for your Minnesota Wild, Bill Guerin, will join from Toronto at 5.
Roku has what you need to make your college home away from home feel more like your own. Make your dorm the place to be with Roku TV, or bring a Roku streaming stick to easily access all your favorite free and premium content like iHeartRadio. Stream your favorite playlist with the Roku Vibe Setting Smart Light strips to sync your music to millions of colors and make your dorm feel more like you. Make your dorm the place to be with Roku TVs, streaming players, and smart lights. Head to Roku.com or your favorite retailer to deck out your dorm.
One other thing for Finchie before we move to football, and I don't know, Guardsy, if you read Johnny Athletic today off of the game last night, but he brought this up too, and he, Johnny can be a Finchie apologist, but
sure,
in this case, he said, well, look, part of it is it looks like you got a lot of different options from a talent standpoint and a lineup standpoint, and it almost feels like Finchie, but he doesn't know how to accommodate it. He doesn't know how to fit the pieces together. Now, that might be unfair to him, again, because you make such a big trade and the pieces don't fit as logically as the old pieces did. But I do think that's part of the story. We've all talked about it, that
definitely
part of how you evaluate a head coach is, all right, now we got a lot of different pieces. Part of your job is to solve the puzzle and make sure the pieces fit at the right point, or have, play enough players. He's more Tibbs-like than Tibbs. Basically, he plays 7.5 guys, right?
Yeah. Do you see Tibbs moved to a 9-man rotation?
Boom.
And they're like undefeated since that.
They destroyed Memphis. They toyed with Memphis last night, even though apparently Cat's thumb is a mess. Did you see this? It's bad. He might end up needing the same surgery that Kirill needs.
Interesting.
Although that's lower body. Thumb is not lower body, is it?
James Andrews might be busy.
Seifert is in. Your NBA coverage is limited, correct?
Yes.
We talked about this before. Did you do any of it in Washington?
No, I think I went to one Bullets game when they
Back in the day?
when the Wizards were the Bullets.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I was there as a fan or covering it, but very limited.
Did you cover any Wolves at all? Like sidebar? Was there ever like an emergency situation?
They were never, I don't think they were ever good enough while I was there.
That's true.
I did do some NCAA. The year the Final Four was here, the first in 2001-ish, they sent all of us out to regionals. And so
you had
I
a
went
regional?
to Memphis and did some stuff, and then was part of the team effort at the actual Final Four. So lots of college basketball, relatively.
Do you remember who came out of that region?
Gonzaga. With, and it was your guy, was it Mark Few, or would it have been the guy that came from Gonzaga
Munson?
to
Danny Munson?
What year did Danny Munson?
That was 99.
Okay, so no, so it was Mark Few. It was the early years of Mark Few.
Okay.
And they had is it Dickow, the
Dan
point
Dickow.
guard?
Oh yeah, Dan Dickow
That played here.
Yeah,
And another guy, Casey Calvary, or I
don't remember him.
Big time forward there.
Right.
So they had two really good players.
So you got into it a little bit when you had to.
Yeah, I was a team player.
You were a team
if they
player.
wanted me, and I got a crash course. There's 5 guys on the court at any given time. You have to dribble. 2 points. 2 points for a 2-pointer. 3 points for a 3-pointer.
Now there's talk of a 4-pointer.
That would be a good idea. Space the court out. That's what they need.
Well, that's
more
what
space on the court.
The whole
More
thing's bizarre to
space
me.
on the court was what we need.
All right, let's. I want to start where we left off. We being Guardsy and me, last night doing the show from Target Center, and I actually quoted from a tweet thread that you sent out, and it's the proverbial. What's everybody talking about after the weekend? They're saying, got to be able to put something in the ball or triangulate the ball, or there's got to be electronic stuff, laser technology that makes this as easy as it is in tennis and soccer. And you found a guy who used to be
He was XFL
guy. Now I don't know what he is. He's some kind of scientist.
He does all the Amazon analytics stuff when you watch the Thursday night games.
I quoted like 6 of his tweets in a row. I have to admit, Guardsy and I we're not bright people when it comes to geometry stuff or spatial relations. I think we were more confused than when we began. But what I thought I took out of it, and you tell me, was it ain't as simple as you think.
Yeah.
There may be ways out of the box, but the notion that the technology used in tennis and soccer can be used here leaves out several important points. Is that the gist of what he was saying, and do you agree?
Yeah. I think he got into a lot of detail, but the main points are, one, and because I've worked on these stories too and have for a while, is that there still isn't great accuracy in terms of where the ball is when it's in a scrum. Like, especially if you're like trying to shoot
the camera
a laser,
can't see it, no matter how many cameras, right?
Or laser, you can't get the GPS signal, whatever. Like the level of precision you would need, they have not been able to consistently duplicate, and they've tried as recently as this past year. Not necessarily using the technology to like decide where to spot the ball, but just knowing where the ball is, that you can then combine with when the knee hit the ground kind of thing to then at least help you spot it. But they didn't even feel totally confident in that when they kind of looked at the readings they were getting from the technology and just looking at it, on a video. Like it wasn't close enough to say, okay, we can rely on this. And that's part of it. And the other part is, the larger sense is, and I think people get confused, is that it's not just, and when you're trying to decide where the ball should be spotted, it's not just where the ball is. It's where the ball is when the player's down. And unless you're going to put a chip in every knee pad, shin, elbow, any other place other than the head, then you're not going to be able to totally do it with technology. And I know it's great, for everyone to say, well, how could we be in the horse and buggy era here in football?
It's become quite the cliche.
Yeah. And I get it. Like, no one wants to do it this way, but that's where they're at.
Well, all right. So you believe this statement to be true. Right now, the technology to solve this issue, like the Josh Allen sneak, whether he crossed the first down line or not, literally does not exist.
It hasn't been fine tuned enough. Okay. I think, because I think that they know like basically how it could work, but they haven't gotten it to a point where they feel they can trust it on to decide potential, in a case like that, literally decide games.
John, the mail carrier, suggests using X-ray. How would that work? Exactly. I'm not sure.
A lot of privacy issues there. I would think that would come up.
Guardsy, get in on this, because yesterday you're like, well, there's got to be, you use some term that indicated, there's got to be a way to
there's got to be, you got the chips on the pylons there on the side or the chain. You got the chip on the ball. You got chips on the field. There's got to be a way to triangulate everything.
Triangulate. That was the term you used.
Triangulate.
It sounds good, but is that real?
We can fire a drone from here to the Middle East, but we can't figure out where the football's going to be.
We can take.
This is tougher.
We can take
That's
photos
the reality.
of pulsars, that are light years away. But I don't think it's that. I don't think it's never going to happen. I just think that
we're
they're
not there yet.
Yeah, and plus the NFL is super cautious in terms of ever adopting any technology. They still don't.
Why?
It's just super. They don't like unintended consequences.
You think they like these They think that these controversies actually are good and feed the interest in the game?
Oh, I know that they like it. I just know that they don't want to if there's a way to be more accurate, they would want to do it. But in the meantime, I think that Roger Goodell has been on record saying, whenever there's these big officiating controversies or seasons where officiating is super on everyone's mind, he's like, hey, that's part of football. Some calls go one way, some calls go the other. Never going to be perfect. It's always been that way. It's fine.
So on the play, here's the part I didn't understand reading many of the media jackals and even listening to some of them. Because most of them said, yeah, I thought he got it on that play, but I thought it was pretty close, and I didn't lose my mind over it. Here's what I don't understand. I could have sworn, and maybe I dreamt this, there was an angle from, I want to say, field level, felt like the far side, where it showed, what's the quarterback's name for the Bills?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen on his back.
Yes, yeah.
Okay? And his body was across. And the only way you could say, well, we can't really see where the football is, the problem with that logic is he didn't have his arm out this way where the ball might have been on this side. It was he was trying to protect the ball. So he had his arms like this, which meant if you see his body and his body is crossing, the football has to have crossed. And I thought there was an angle that flat out made it not even close on that play. Did I dream that?
No, I think I know what you're talking about. And that's one of those where to me, and this is truly what I feel about that mark, if they had marked him first down, I wouldn't have argued it. But in terms of, can you then reverse it on replay? But you have to see it. You have to see it. You can't reverse. You can't.
So you have to see the ball,
and so you don't have to see it all in one angle. You can, to use Guardsy's word, triangulate.
Triangulate.
You can look. You can say your angle. Okay, yes. We know where the body is now. If on the other side we can see where the ball is and we can't see the body, then we can. They do bring those two things together. But I don't think there was ever an angle where you could closely see the ball. Not just the assumption of the ball.
But it's where the ball had to be. If his hands are like that, the ball's got to be close to his body on the chest.
The standard for overriding it is that it has to be clear and obvious that it's there. And so they don't want people guessing. They don't want, assumptions being made. And so that's why I say, like, if they had, and that's why everyone, I think, has said, like, if they had ruled it a first down,
I get
nobody
that,
would. But in terms of, like, I mean, you're the big guy who doesn't want replay.
I know. Well, no, my point is I felt vindicated yesterday because
replay
you're a replay terrorist, and replay didn't come close to solving.
Yeah, and it can't solve everything. And like
but that's the play of the game.
Well, then we need more cameras.
How many we got? 12, 15, 18?
Oh, there's for that game.
Was there
40.
one from straight above? Or is that impossible in some stadiums?
No, I mean, they didn't. I didn't see an
Why
angle.
don't we have one from straight above? Because we would have seen him on his back with the ball, him cradling the ball.
There should be a satellite up in space that's right over the stadium that can look.
You could probably tap into like Google Maps or whatever and do that.
What about a bunch of drone cameras just floating high above?
Well, they stop games now. If there's a drone flying over NFL games, it's so illegal. They stop the game for security reasons until they're gone.
Yeah. Do we know why, on the other hand, the Bills seemed so stubborn about running their own version of the tush push on an occasion when it was fairly clear they'd been well scouted?
Yeah.
And it appeared that the Chiefs had a really good idea, generally, which direction that the quarterback was going to go.
If there was an explanation other than we're going strength on strength, then I haven't heard it. And so I think that's where they typically go. I think Romo mentioned it. That's where they typically go, left. And they thought that was the best people they wanted to run behind, and it's worked for them. And if there was a more subtle or nuanced schematic explanation for why they kept not only calling that play but going in that direction, I haven't heard it.
Yeah, it was a bit maddening. It felt like we're just going to be stubborn because this has been a strength for us, and one of these times it's going to work. In a game in which their number one running back looked good.
Yeah.
Their number one running back, when he was on the field.
I mean, looked just like Dalvin Cook in his prime, if not
exactly,
better.
If not better. And he was, again, even on that last drive, he wasn't on the field the whole time. I'm all confused. Was he hurt?
No, there must be a blocking. Like, usually when in my experience, when you see, like, clearly the best runner not being on the field, there must be an issue with blocking.
I hope you're right. So, you come out of the title round games thinking what about the Super Bowl?
That while I'm looking forward to it, I don't think that the country is. The ratings will be the ratings because of the Super Bowl.
Did you see the number for Buffalo and Kansas City at its height?
No.
Almost 60 million people. This is the biggest, I think, title round game in decades, if ever. Almost 60. Did I get that number right, Guards? Will you double check it? I think it was like 57, 58. That number is in this day and age.
Yeah,
doesn't exist.
No,
other than in pro football.
That's an incredible number. I'm feeling like the Chiefs are getting close to, if they haven't already gotten to where the Patriots were, where the assumption is that there's cheating. There has to be cheating. There has to be either official. In this case, it's cheating on the behalf of officials. Balls. There's been no accusations of any rule breaking by the Chiefs, other than this whole thing with their offensive line and whether they get early.
The one tackle does.
Yeah, the early, or they not lined up on the line, or whether Patrick Mahomes is taking advantage of the quarterback safety rules to draw penalties. But for the most part, it seems like the cheating is being directed towards officiating. But from the larger sense, the Chiefs have gotten so dominant in this era that people are flailing around looking for reasons other than just being really dang good for why they've been so consistently successful.
Average audience of 57.4 million. That's a record for the AFC Championship and the most for any conference championship game. Since 2012, Giants-Niners had an audience of 57.6 million.
Favre and the Saints averaged 57.9, according to The Athletic.
I mean, that's just those are mind-boggling. In this day and age where everybody watches whatever they want, they got their own device, they got their own channel to stream, it's remarkable.
Yeah, that's why people are paying so much for NFL property right now.
All right, the deciding play ultimately of the game that allowed the Chiefs to run out the clock, right? If you hold them here, they're going to have to probably punt, and at least there's a chip chair and a chance for Buffalo, right? Mm-hmm. It's third and what was it, 7? I don't remember what the yards were.
About that.
In that range. And the Chiefs do what the Chiefs do. They just, a receiver leaks out. Mm-hmm. I mean, a running back leaks out. There's nobody with them.
Yeah.
It's a throw you could make. It's a throw any of us could actually make. And Gargi and I talked about this yesterday. I hope that our head coach watches that, because I honestly believe it's a problem here. I think that play is boring to him. I just don't think it interests him. And how many times for the Chiefs, especially now, the current iteration of the Chiefs, have we seen that? It's like a little 6-yard play that's just a flip. There's not even anything. It's not because Mahomes is unbelievable, which he is. It's great planning. It's obviously a head coach who knows how to run an offense, and he doesn't care about looking pretty. He cares about winning, and they just make the play. I'm still not convinced our guy is just interested in making the play.
There's no doubt that they throw downfield a lot. I had pushed back a little bit on saying, like to me, like the play that comes to mind is the game when they were trying to close out the Lions at home.
Yes, I remember that.
And it was third and about
7, 6 or 7. Yeah.
And so
he rolls to the right,
and he's got Jefferson. What would have been an 8-yard, 10-yard pass. So totally appropriate. They kind of messed it up because I think Addison leaked into the area and there was too much.
But there was nothing easy about it, is my point. We don't have enough. I'm saying.
Well, I was referencing like short versus downfield.
That's true, but it's not just length. It's nobody there.
Yeah.
It's just throw the ball.
The Aaron Jones type.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean that's fair. I don't want to portray that like they're trying to throw it 30 yards downfield on every play, but right. I do think that part of the offseason study of the offense will be like, is there a way to diversify, especially when you get sacked 9 times in a playoff game, and in many, at least some of the occasions, you had open receivers, but they were so far downfield that it was really hard to get it to them. And so I expect that to be part of their offseason analysis. I don't expect to see like a completely different offense, but something that we will talk about a lot if it becomes J.J. McCarthy that as a starter, to what extent are they going to adjust?
Make him a runner.
Or make him a runner, but just adjust what they're asking. Like, with a first-time starter, basically a rookie, he just turned 22. Are you asking him to run the same offense that Sam Darnold ran last year?
He asked the pastor not
to. Yeah. But this will be the first time that we see an inexperienced quarterback playing in this offense for O'Connell in Minnesota, and so I think that'll be an off-season topic for a good portion of the spring and summer, if we do get the feeling that McCarthy's going to be the starter.
612 guy writes, he wasn't holding the ball between his knees. Sounds like Seifert's defending the refs like Rosen defends the Pohlads.
Wasn't holding the ball between his knees.
I think he's saying it was obvious the ball, even if you don't see the ball, where it had to be.
But I can't, I'm not, that's the rule. That's what the replay.
Change the rule.
That's what the replay people, that's the whole conceit of replay is to reverse a call, you have to see that it was wrong.
Then we wouldn't be as frustrated.
But then they would not be making the big. You want to hear about officiating controversies? There'll be a lot next year if they follow through with this idea of using replay assist to decide if there's been roughing the passer or face masks and all that. Good luck with that. Have fun. You're gonna love that one.
I almost am at a point now where I want to go full circle and say replay everything. That's what you guys want. So just literally say on any call, a coach gets 2 challenges a game, and he can challenge any call.
That's what Belichick.
Pass interference. Yeah. That's what you guys want.
Yep.
And the game will take 4 hours, and we still won't feel any better about the results. I don't think
it won't take 4 hours if you only get 2 challenges. But if they pair that with this replay assist thing that can jump in at any time, then you're talking about at least a lot of potential changes.
And that's another thing that's goofy about the league is that you feel like in some games you see it a lot, and then it. Out of nowhere, it's like, well, no, the ball's moved because
I agree.
And I don't dislike it, but to me that inconsistency is what breeds suspicion.
The transparency,
yeah.
That's been a huge. So everybody's been so excited about the fact that a lot of things have been fixed and it hasn't caused a huddle or you haven't had to go to timeout. That nobody's really stepped back and saying we don't even know who the people are that are making these decisions. necessarily. Right. We don't know when it's...
Are they human or are they robots?
Or are they from...
AI, whatever.
Did they grow up in Philadelphia or they grow up in... what's their... who's vetted them to what, and all that kind of thing. And then, and the other part is, how, are they qualified to do it? Usually the replay... The whole pushback had been that the replay officials that are just replay people. They're not necessarily versed in all the rules, and so there's a lot there, and they don't even tell us really when something has changed. Sometimes they'll say in further review, or sometimes they just move the ball and are done. So there's no data that exists. They might give us at the end of the season, I don't know, but there's no data that tells us, four plays were changed by replay assist in this game, and here were the four. So there's it's like a big brother behind the 1984 meets Wizard of Oz meets everything else.
My guess is the commissioner would say, Dan, what's that number of people you just quoted? Yeah. We don't care. What are you going to do? I mean, is it really troubling people so much that they're not watching? No, almost 60 million people.
And there's some hate watching amongst that.
There is some of that too. Yeah, there's no question about that. Seifert is in studio. We're going to get to some Viking stuff when we come back as well, because I don't know, I felt like a little of the shock jock in him came through regarding a story he dropped a few days ago on the Vikings young quarterback. We'll get into some of that, what that was all about, and a number of other things. If you have questions, hit the Bradshaw and Bryan KFAN text line 64686. The Kaprisov story will continue to be covered extensively. Louis at 4:30, and Bill Guerin, the general manager of your Minnesota Wild, at 5:30 from Toronto.
Roku has what you need to make your college home away from home feel more like your own. Make your dorm the place to be with Roku TV, or bring a Roku streaming stick to easily access all your favorite free and premium content like iHeartRadio. Stream your favorite playlist with the Roku Vibe Setting Smart Light strips to sync your music to millions of colors and make your dorm feel more like you. Make your dorm the place to be with Roku TVs, streaming players, and smart lights. Head to Roku.com or your favorite retailer to deck out your dorm.
With New Year's resolutions, many of us will make a vow to eat healthier, and that's a good thing. But what about our beloved pets and their nutrition? Greetings, I'm naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, and here at Meow Greens, we're on a mission to provide better nutrition for all cats, because truthfully, all cat food is dead food, which is why we created Meow Greens in the first place. We bring their dead food back to life with live vitamins, minerals, probiotics, enzymes, omega oils, antioxidants, and so much more. All with a tasty formula that your cat will love. You can improve your cat's coat, digestion, and energy, and have less vet bills. Let 2025 bring a new year and a new pet. Get a Jumpstart trial bag, normally $20. Get a 100% discount with promo code MEOW. You just cover the shipping. Bring your pet's food back to life. Get your free Jumpstart trial bag. Go to meowgreens.com. Use promo code MEOW, MEOW. So good your cat will ask for it by name.